Riders ready, watch the gate.
Hey, welcome back to the Dirty Knobs podcast. I'm your host, Hollywood Mike Miranda, with my co-host, JV James Vicente and EC Eric Carter. We are bringing you this episode number 20, our season finale. This is going to be our last regular episode of the year. On Christmas Day around noon, we're going to drop the rental car Christmas special, and then we'll start on the first of the year with another doozy. But for those of you who have been listening all along or watching all along, thank you guys so much for your support. Thanks for coming along on the ride. If you're enjoying this, and I hope that you guys are, please subscribe and comment. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you'd like to hear. Just any kind of feedback is great. If you do subscribe, then you will have a chance of being a lucky winner. I'm going to put another prize package together and send it out. Our subscriber winner for this episode is MTH9743. We don't know who you are, so reach out to us. Send us an email on dirtyknobs.com and send us an email with your name and address, and we'll put that, we'll send you out a pretty cool care package with some stuff we get from the sponsors. Speaking of sponsors, you're going to want to stick around to the end and listen to the commercials. We got a couple new ones, and of course, the Ultramax commercial is my favorite. It's a new one this episode too. So if you thought the last one was funny, you'll enjoy this one too. We have a new sponsor, Mongoose Bicycles. Thank you so much for the donations. We'll have some stuff in a care package going out to a lucky winner. And finally, listen, go to dirtyknobs.com. Buy a hat like this one. Buy a t-shirt. Send us a picture of you wearing it, and we'll post it on T-Shirt Tuesdays. And thank you again, all of you, for your support. On behalf of James Vicente, Eric Carter, and myself, thank you guys, you bunch of dirty knobs. Yes, so all EC is here.
Let's see if he's got the wet hair, or
what
look is he going to have for us?
Let's see what he has. Shaved, clean hair, wet. Or is it going to be
wet
just
hair?
dust?
I'm going with
dust
wet
cloud.
hair.
I'm going to go with dust cloud.
Wet hair. I got to go with wet
Let's
hair.
See.
I love it. Dude, this anticipation. You guys can hear me, not see me.
You got your internet working?
Let's
the dial up?
You guys can totally hear me, but not see me, right?
That's right.
Because your dial up isn't working right.
Your camera doesn't work.
Hey, hold on a second.
You got mud on the camera.
Did you guys hear that?
Oh yeah.
We know that. Hey, come on, we're pros. We know that sound.
Hey, he is.
Yeah. That looks like dry hair.
Nice.
It is dry hair.
Look at that.
Wow. All right.
Dude, I'm back in my office now.
Very trendy.
Fantastic.
Christmas. Yeah, well, this was Christmas staging.
Oh.
And now Christmas is out.
That was Santa's little workshop, is what that was.
Santa's workshop.
Oh, I got
out
it.
of the sushi bar tonight, boys.
I like the sushi bar.
So
I like the sushi bar.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm just drinking soda and water tonight. I'm not on the booze.
No. Okay.
Nah, forget that, dude. No.
I have a little bit of a sore throat, so I've got Daddy's special hot toddy.
That'll fix it. Dude, you know what I got right now? Hollywood?
What's
not
that?
Your favorite. Probably not your favorite. Stone Delicious IPA.
Ooh.
This is
no
grass cutting.
Not a fan of licking the mower.
It says it's delicious.
It says it's delicious.
That's false advertising. Somebody's gonna get sued. Wow.
I don't know where I got this, man. This thing just showed up in my fridge, I swear. I don't know if one of my neighbors dropped it by or something.
You better check the fingerprints for your boys on there.
That's right. Exactly.
Well, season finale.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Season finale.
Who would have thunk it, huh?
Right? Who would have thunk we done? Hold on. I think it was Dale Holmes that told me that if you get past six episodes, you've got something
Yeah.
that most people don't get past 6 episodes.
See.
Well, here we are on, this is number 20.
Man.
And so congratulations to you both, man.
Yo,
to the
just
three of
us,
us.
right?
Yeah,
just
to us.
just me and JV.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
No, awesome jobs, boys.
Yeah,
How
man.
about a cheer? How about we cheer? Give a little bit of a cheers, virtual
Yes.
cheers on that.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Mm.
I'm not pouring one out on my homies on the carpet here.
No.
No.
Nope.
Well,
Yeah,
for
man,
the
it's been good. It's
Yep.
been fun. You know what's really cool, man, is aside from a few oddball individuals, we have overwhelming positivity and response, and people love what we're doing. And so what do you say, man? You can't please everybody all the time. So but we're pleasing most of the people most of the time.
I'd say 99 out of 100 is pretty
Yeah.
good.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just having fun with my brothers, right? And that was our whole deal to start. We never really set out to be pro podcasters, and we still aren't.
We're definitely not.
No, I mean, our whole game is to make it better. One episode, every episode to improve one thing. And
dude, I think
listen,
we're
your
good as
hair's dry. You actually, that's an improvement. We're
more presentable. I think
check the box.
I think we're as good as we ever need to be right now, man.
Exactly right. Exactly right, man.
Oh,
Well,
gosh.
we've made it to what we call season 1. This is our grand finale of the season. We will have a Christmas Day special. That'll be the rental car stories. But for the season, this is the season ender, and it's a special one. I think we have grabbed 2 guys that are essential to the history of BMX. They are, you could argue, now I wouldn't argue, but you could argue they are the greatest brothers in BMX, the most successful career as brothers in BMX. I don't know who would beat them, but I'm looking forward to asking them that.
Yeah, I mean, I for sure, it would come down to Richie Ronnie or Eddie and Mikey, but these guys both were ABA pro champions.
Well, let's bring them in and let's ask.
Let's go. Come on.
Our special guest.
Okay. Dude, we're not holding back. Just jumping right in, huh?
Exactly.
Shit. Here we go.
They're coming. They're getting in the gate. Man, I know one thing.
Like the Malachi brothers.
No, I don't want to get in between them.
Don't get
I learned
in
that
between
lesson
them.
the hard way.
Notice how they're on the bottom down there.
Yeah.
Just get them in the same lanes next to each other.
Yeah, you put them in lane 7 and 8, didn't you?
That's okay. We're coming over.
Oh,
Oh, here we go. See?
all right. We're waiting for your cameras to kick in to see how pretty you look now.
Okay.
Right.
Well, how does that work?
Probably, dude.
Not
Probably
yet.
on the,
Hang on.
bottom left.
I got it.
Hey, there you
Yes.
go.
Oh, there's one.
Bam.
Awesome.
There we
There
go.
he is.
Hey, there you go.
Look at that.
What's happening, guys?
Oh man.
Good to see you too.
Nice to see you.
Good to be here.
Well, we were just saying, we don't argue, but the others may argue the greatest brothers, the greatest twosome brothers in BMX. I don't argue it. I say hands down the 2 best racers that were brothers in all of BMX. I don't know how you could argue it. Could you guys make an argument for somebody else?
Let me throw some stats. Let me just
Oh.
throw a little bit of something first
Uh,
because I think it's going to help us here.
Because we got a
Let's see what
stat
you got.
guy. Turns out we got a stat guy over here.
Yeah. I mean, Wikipedia helped me a little bit. The only brothers to hold the national #1 pro title. The only sibling combination to hold both #1 and #2 national pro plate simultaneously with a major sanctioning body. Brian being ABA #1, Brent #2 pro in 1982. Brent, the first to win a national #1 plate, amateur or professional, 3 consecutive times, and to do so consecutively in a sanctioning body. Pro Cruiser, 1981, 82, 83 ABA. Now, it's argued by Eddie King that cruiser really isn't a class. So what are your thoughts on that? Might mess
Come
up
on,
your
guys.
stats a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I
We
heard
got-
I heard the Greg Hill interview, and you guys were ranking on the cruiser class. So yeah, it's funny.
I'm a cruiser fan, man. You know why?
Me too.
Because my cruiser bonus checks counted.
There you
Exactly.
go. Absolutely. That's
Exactly.
why I started on that mongoose. I mean, it was $200 a win,
Exactly.
and yeah. So
That
Nope.
Murray World Cup paid $5,000 for me.
there
Yeah.
you go.
Oh, see,
Yeah, that counted.
No, we're fans. We're fans of cruiser.
So I understand.
whoa,
Oh,
whoa.
except Mike.
Whoa,
Except
whoa,
Mike.
whoa.
Whoa. I
Back it up.
understand. I understand Eddie's position, mostly because Eddie's so short he couldn't fit on cruisers.
There you go.
Might be. I think he gave it a go a couple times.
You know, I was looking recently on Facebook on my feed. A bunch of pictures of Eddie have come up recently, and they seem to always be on cruiser.
I love it.
That's great. Yeah, when
I
Eddie's
love
on here,
Eddie's-
he's going to get a ration for that one.
Yeah, Eddie's awesome. We can always, we can take the piss out of him because he's one of our brothers. But man, it's funny. I always love to hear those little banters back and forth about cruiser and 20.
Hey,
I
I'll
rode-
take a national #1 anytime in
Yeah.
any class.
Amen.
Hell yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, you guys, you are, in my mind, the epitome of NorCal. You guys seems like you both dominated races. You did it in ways that that unlike some of the other NorCal guys, you just stomp people in the dirt. You won from start to finish without having to take. Let me rephrase that. Without having to. Take, I mean, you won from start to finish by getting strong starts and just pulling away, or closing the door on people coming up on you. It was amazing racing from behind you. From the rare times I ever got to be in front of you, it usually had to do with me cutting you off. It was amazing to watch you guys both race in your style. And for me, it was always a little special because of the rivalry between Southern California and Northern California. Did you guys feel that rivalry?
Yeah, I did. I thrived on it. I mean, I would go down to LA. We'd go down on Wednesday nights, Friday nights, Van Nuys, WSA. We'd where else did we go? Yarnell, Holyfield, a few tracks, and I just love competing with you guys down there.
You guys came to my home track, Corona Downhill, and it was amazing to see you guys ride at our track because I assumed it was completely different from what you raced on.
Well, not
you guys-
really. We grew up on
assumed.
downhill.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, Merritt College and McLaren Park in San Francisco were fast downhill tracks, and going to Yarnell and going to Corona, we loved it.
That was before races were sanctioned. We were racing there
Yeah.
before NBA and ABA, all those.
That's amazing, man. Well, I think what you were saying, Mike, was you guys didn't really know much about what they were racing up there. And those guys, I imagine you guys probably thought, oh, let's see these guys ride Corona. And they showed up and they lit it up.
That was exactly what I thought. I thought, oh, well, yeah, NorCal guys will beat them because they're riding those flat, whatever those
Horseshoes
types. Yeah, horseshoes. Yeah,
Oakdale, right?
Exactly. Well, individually, who from Southern California gave it to you the worst? That gave you that rivalry, that fire? Was there any one or two riders that spurred you on?
Well, for me, it was, obviously always Stu, because when I started racing, when I turned 16, he was the man. I wanted to beat him. And so he had to be for me. Then a little while later, obviously, it was probably Hill, because he was so strong. there were so many of them. I mean, but me and Stu, I mean, the summer tours, back in 77, 78, I mean, we battled every race, every city we went to. It was normally me and him going first and second.
And Brian?
For me, I mean, I was younger then. I was I was 11 years old racing when they were, 15, 16. So Eddie and I always had a great rivalry from day one. I'll never forget the California Cup. I was leading it all the way to the last freaking corner. I looked over my right shoulder and Eddie passed me on the left side 5 feet before the finish line. I was devastated. and he still won't let me live that one down.
Love it.
How about up in Northern California? Who are the tough ones up there for you guys?
Go ahead, Brian.
Frank Poe. I mean, so Brent didn't race a lot locally. When I finally got into the pro ranks, I raced. I would race every weekend if we weren't racing the national. We'd race locally. There would be me, Frank Post, Ronnie Anderson. I mean, we had a gate full of guys, probably 10 guys that would go at it at any local track. We'd pass the hat, try to raise a couple extra bucks. But Frank was probably one of the biggest rivals for me locally at the pro level. And I mean, to this day, he still lives in those days and lets me know how I cut him off in a race in San Martin in 1983. I mean, it's pretty wild.
Frank he was a crafty racer too, man. He was really, really, from what I remember of him, I was pretty young when you guys were doing that as well, but man, Frank always seemed like he had these weird lines and he'd always be setting things up and strategizing and diving in on you and stuff. And I can only imagine, I mean, having to deal with that on a local level. And then obviously Ronnie as well, man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Ronnie that kid was probably one of the best on two wheels that I've ever seen. I mean, that guy can do anything: jump, bunny hop, race, hop, jump the gate. I mean, he did it all, man. Yeah. And try to get in your head, So, with Richie being on our team, and Richie was like our little brother. Ronnie was with us for a little while. There was a rivalry there, but when I first turned pro, Ronnie was still racing amateur, so there wasn't as much. But when Ronnie, I think what was it, 85 or 86, he ended up getting national number one. He had a great year that year and deserved it.
Yeah.
Damn, did Ronnie race for Patterson too for a little while?
He did when he was like 13, maybe.
Ah.
Yeah. I took a little hiatus from about 13 to 15 or 16. Went through a growth spurt, wasn't feeling too coordinated, didn't have the passion. Kind of left the sport for a little bit. And then once I saw Brent doing what he was doing and still having fun, think like my freshman or sophomore year in high school, I said, you know what, I'm going to jump back in and give it a go. And it worked out well.
Yeah.
I kicked everybody's ass.
That is an understatement.
Yeah. It was weird because I didn't even know. I mean, I only knew there was a Brent Patterson. I didn't even know there was a Brian Patterson. I started racing in 78. So I didn't know about prior to 78. And I really wasn't racing at a high level, just local stuff, probably, I don't know, until 82, 83. So I think that's probably when that hiatus was. And all I knew about was Brent. I couldn't believe somebody beat Stu and took the title from him. I was like, what the heck is this, man? Like, what is going on? And then now there's a brother. What the heck is that? So it was impressive. And I was always like, you guys always seem to, like, all the pictures that you guys have in the magazines, you always look fast. You always look like you're going quick. You're always in like super intensity, man. So that stuff always resonated with me. I never really got to know you guys at the racing. So it was like, man, these guys are these strong, powerful, fast dudes. And it was amazing to be a fly on the wall, if you will. Or I was a fan watching from the sidelines.
It was good times for sure. I think it was those colors we ran that made us look so fast.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, from Speedo onwards.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, you guys did have an awesome team, a small team, but an awesome team. Was there anyone you really wanted to like? Was there ever somebody that you guys tried to get on the team that didn't work out?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I'm sure there was, but you know, I'm 61 now, so my memory's not there. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But
I mean, Brian, do you know of anybody?
Not that I could recall. I mean, we pretty much had most of the same guys from the Speedo days up. We had a short hiatus between Speedo before we started Patterson Racing. And we had a good team then. And our premise was to try to keep that core of people together.
Yeah.
There were Robinson wanted to pick up Brent and I, and there were some other teams from LRV,
Schwinn.
some Schwinn. There were some teams from LA that wanted some of us, but not all of us. And, my dad was a firm believer. We had a good thing going, the good parents, everyone traveled well together, wanted to keep that together. So we kind of forced us into starting Patterson Racing almost.
Yeah.
And you never went down the path of like little kids, like smaller bikes, no?
We had Robbie Morris at the time. He was a local NorCal kid. His dad, John Morris, made a mini bike and he rode for us. Didn't hit all the nationals, but maybe the Western region, maybe up through Arizona, Nevada, up into Washington. But I don't think he traveled the country with us. I mean, Richie was the youngest rider at the time.
Richie was what? I mean, when he started with you guys, he was what, 10 or 11?
Maybe
probably
even
10.
Yeah, probably 10. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, that's pretty young.
And so
how come Ronnie didn't get on the team? Was it because you guys were competitive, Brian, or was there another reason?
I'm not sure. I don't think it was because we were competitive. I mean, when we were racing, we wanted to race the best competition and race the best guys and have the best racers on our team. I think I'm not sure why it wasn't. I mean, we used to train at Vallejo track with Ronnie and Richie, and Richie's dad, Richard Anderson used to train us.
Right.
We'd go out there on the weekends, when we weren't, traveling and do gates and basically run motos out there, to get ready for the next race. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's really crazy that you guys, well, I mean, for one, that you guys were such hard competitors and that that his dad trained you as well. So
yeah,
that's pretty wild to hear that. I actually got to talk with Richie's dad, I don't know, 85 grands. I had a bad race and Richie's dad was there and we were talking with him. Dude, that guy was very interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
He had a lot of different theories, and I don't know if you remember Richie running those big old gears, 5219.
I heard about that.
There was always stuff going on in his head why it would pull more, and so
more chain.
Believe me, I mean, Richie killed everybody.
Richie could have probably ran anything. That kid was amazing on a bicycle at that young age. Winning back-to-back national ABA titles. And when you talk about siblings, as far as that goes, I mean, with the titles that Richie won as an amateur and Ronnie won as a pro, I mean, they're in the conversation. I mean, I think that pro wise, I think Brent and I maybe have a leg up on them, but they're definitely in the conversation for best siblings.
I think you have 2 legs and a Mino helmet up on them.
There you go.
Hey, come on. Those helmets were not that bad. Okay.
I'm going to bring that thing up again. You're not getting away with it.
It's okay, guys. You guys only wore the second ugliest helmets.
That's the second ugliest helmet. Yeah.
I remember that one, EC.
That was a hold my beer moment, guys. You guys like, you guys have the ugliest helmets? Hold my beer.
Yeah. So how did Patterson Racing start?
Go ahead, Brent.
Well, we were with Speedo, and Speedo obviously just had a fork, and they were going to come out with a bike, and they didn't have the money to do that. So my dad at the time invested money in Speedo to come out with a Speedo bike. That money went elsewhere and the bike never came out. So we decided, look, we're going to do our own thing and, keep the team together. And so we started Patterson Racing. Like Brian said, we got offers from other people. but we wanted to keep our core together. And so we started Patterson Racing. And at first, we had a guy that at Oakdale, Jerry Griffith made our product. He was Kenny Roberts' machine shop welder. He did a lot of Kenny Roberts flat track stuff. So he was our first manufacturer. And then we moved on from there. Boss made our stuff for a while, and GT made our stuff, and Trackmaster. And yeah, so, and then we got some made in Japan. And then, yeah, so that's kind of how it started. We just wanted to keep everybody together.
Really cool, man. The sport is better for that. I mean, those iconic colors, and the teams that you guys had, like, those powerhouse teams of amazing riders, obviously anchored by you guys, man. It's awesome that Pop stepped up and made it happen. And the bikes, as far as I understand it, those bikes, the geometry on those bikes are heralded as some of that was where old geometry shifted into new geometry. Isn't that right, Hollywood? Am I remembering right?
According to most people I talk to, that was the big change. And when people started making bikes after the Pattersons, I mean, from that era on, they based their geometry off the Patterson.
Right.
So that's really a testament. Who came up with that?
I designed
that was Brent.
and it was interesting. I mean, me and Brian were known for getting over getting out of the gate, for one. I mean, we practiced hard doing that, and getting over jumps. I mean, any jump, steep jump, it didn't matter. We got over it low and fast.
Yeah.
And so when we designed the bike, I mean, I went through a ton of bikes, and I would change the rear end, a quarter inch, a half an inch. I needed to get that front end exactly how I felt it should be, or we can, it didn't feel heavy coming up. It didn't feel light coming up. And we can, power over these jumps, power out of the gate, not worry about, looping backwards. And so there was a lot of different, changes. We went through a lot of bikes to get what we wanted.
That's amazing, man. That really is amazing. Like, most people look at a BMX bike and they just look at it as a kid's bike. But it's pretty cool that you touched on that, because BMX racers at a high level, you actually can feel that difference, that quarter-inch difference in a rear end.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And the performance change of, like you said, what you're talking about is finding a neutral position. I've done a lot of testing with equipment as well, not being mostly mountain bike stuff, but finding neutral, meaning where a bike doesn't feel light and it doesn't feel heavy. The words you use are perfect, because it's like what you chased was a not fighting the bike at all. You chased a feeling of becoming at one with the bike, and the results spoke for it. And then the history of bike design speaks on it as well. So, I mean, it's cool to hear what you did and the legacy behind that. That's amazing.
Yeah. And we did that with our cruiser. I mean, there were 26 in the cruisers, then they went to 24.
That doesn't
and I
count.
Literally, once it went to 24, I rode a bunch of different 24s.
Yeah.
Before we had ours. They were terrible.
Right.
I mean, I would have rather ride my 26 than a 24 back then. And then, so we designed ours the same way, right? We got the neutral balance, and, speak for itself too. I mean, Richie winning, cruiser type, me winning cruiser titles, Brian doing, well on the cruiser. I mean, so we did the same thing on that when that came about.
Did you guys run the same bike? Did you run all stock, or?
Yes. Yeah.
You did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So we had a long, a standard and a long on the 20-inch. The cruiser was the cruiser. We didn't have multiple sizes, but on the 20-inch, we had a standard and a long. I ran the long because I was 6'3" and a little bit taller than most riders. I think Brent ran the long too.
Yeah.
He was 6'1".
Yeah.
It's really a testament to how good the frame is that when you don't ride custom ones, you ride stock.
Yeah.
But your stock was custom because it was built for you by you, right?
Right. Exactly.
You really were. I was thinking about this. yourself and SE were probably the first two rider-owned companies,
Yeah.
right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
I don't know who else would be in that. And you both certainly rode a lot more than Scott did, but it's pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah.
darn cool.
Yeah.
You said that you were, Brent, you said that you were both known for getting out of the gate and getting over jumps. I think you were both known for getting over on people too.
Whatever it takes, brother.
Yeah. you guys both, I used to laugh. I'd think, oh man, as long as we were talking about just before you got on that, we wanted you guys to have lane 1 and 2 or 7 and 8 or 4 and 5. You never want to get between you two. We called, you guys, I'm sure you know that I know that you had that nickname, the Malachi brothers, because of the Malachi Crunch.
We had those JT leathers with Junior Malachi and Senior Malachi.
But let me tell you right now, when you guys, if either one of you call me and it comes up on my phone, it says Junior Malachi and Senior Malachi.
That's good.
I love it.
I was talking to Tommy Lee Brackens just the day before yesterday, and I told him how excited I was that we was going to have you on, and he said, "Oh, the Malachi brothers." It seems like that name just stuck. Oh, it was great.
I think there was a lot of, I mean, with the, hearing how much you guys practiced your starts, and obviously both of you guys were big, powerful racers and sprinters. I mean, I imagine there was a lot of Malachi going on during the races, so it doesn't surprise me the name sticks.
Do you remember when that came up? The name?
Who did that? I think Mike might have had something to do with it.
Probably.
It could have been
Probably.
Look at Hollywood.
No, it was me. I remember coming back into the pits and throwing my helmet after I got cut. I didn't get a great start and I got cut off right between the two of you, and I was throwing my helmet. Damn, got the Malachi Crunch. Somehow it just stuck. Started calling you that.
That comes from Happy Days, right? Isn't
It
that
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fantastic. The Malachi Crunch.
Man.
Well, listen, you guys, again, you dominated, and it was the way that you did it. You got out of the gate. You both had power. You could get over to the first jump, usually better than everyone else. There weren't a lot of mistakes made, so it was no surprise that you dominated. John Cruz had told us that you guys used to practice gates a lot. And Brian, he said that he based your success on that after him and Brent got done with gates, then you would go do sprints and climb hills and do other stuff. He said that you guys were really dedicated to winning, and it certainly proved itself out.
Well, let me tell you, I probably would have quit 2 years earlier if it wasn't for Brian, because he pushed me, right? And, we had gate before people had gates. We had a cool electronic. I mean, we can put it out 50 yards, and when we crossed it, it gave us our times, and it was really cool, right? And we used to practice, and we used to get out of the gates and sprint up the hill out of the gates, and John's right. I mean, he would go out, he'd race all the local races. I raced from 75 till probably 84. And I lived out of a suitcase the whole time. I mean, I literally did not unpack. My mom would wash the clothes and go back in the suitcase for the next weekend, whatever. So when Brian came on, he pushed me, and I was still very competitive, but not near what he was doing. I mean, he was doing uphill sprints. He was riding every day. He was racing all the local races. And that's why he dominated.
You both did.
I was listening to your podcast with Stuart on my way up to Tahoe here, and talking about playing bike tag and on your bike all the time, riding to your riding grounds, which my parents lived in the Hayward Hills. We would practice or ride at a place called Red Devil in Union City, probably a good 14-15 miles from my parents' house. And I would ride my BMX bike there and ride it home up the hills every day, and practicing and riding, and and just being familiar with your bike and knowing what you're capable of and what your bike's capable of. And you know, you guys hit home with that with Stuart the other night when I was listening to it, you know, and it kind of rang true with me too.
It's pretty, it's a pretty common thread, isn't it? Isn't Brian? Like, you know, that story has been a common thing with a lot of success riders. I mean, I would ride my house I'd ride my BMX bike from my house to Parks, where Mike Franzi had a track. And that was a popular SoCal track where all the pros would go and stuff. I would help him dig and then ride, and then I would ride home. And man, it was a good 15 miles from my house. But like, you know, like what Stu said, and it was just a common thing. And there was just, I don't know, man, it was crazy. Like you just never could get enough of that thing. It was so crazy how much time we would spend on those little bikes. I think back now and I can't believe the distances we would ride on on those bikes.
Oh, all day,
Yeah.
8 hours a day, every day.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. You don't see that nowadays.
no, and you
not at
didn't
all.
think twice about it. You just didn't think twice. It was like you weren't even worried about getting a ride. You're just like, well, we'll just ride there. It'll be fun. We'll just jump off curbs and we'll stop at that other ditch. We'll go to the pit. You know,
Yep.
every town had a pit.
Yep.
Exactly. And
you just migrate your way there and then migrate your way home.
and I did not get my license until just before the ABA Grands when I won the car. That was another thing. I was riding all the time. So Brent had a little pickup truck that we could throw in if we wanted to go, you know, to a distance place to ride.
Yep.
But I literally was probably 17 years old when I got my license. I wasn't, you know, there you go. I wasn't the first one.
Purposefully. On purpose, Brian, I actually I did not get my license until I was 17 because I watched a bunch of guys that I raced get their license, get mini trucks, and they actually went a little bit slower.
You thought it made them lazy. You thought it made them lazy.
And I didn't get my license for a year. I pushed it off.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I knew I was going to win that car, so I had to get my license so I could drive home.
Hey,
So
listen.
awesome.
I could have dove under you one of those mains, okay? But you're my brother, so.
And in that last main, if I didn't hit the brake, Stuart would have put me up into the fourth row of the stands.
Yeah.
I would guarantee it. But I backed off, let him go, and followed him to the finish line, and still won.
Somebody asked us on Facebook today about the cars. They said,
Yeah.
whatever happened with those cars?
So
Oh my God.
Go ahead, Brent.
No, I obviously we both wish we had them. I mean, mine was the last year of that body style, like Smoking the Bandit, right? With the big Eagle, 6.6, 4-speed. That thing was freaking cool. But at the time, I didn't appreciate it, right? So I had to keep it a year. I had taken so many races. I did that. And then as soon as that year was up, I traded it in and probably got nothing for it. And I got a Ford Bronco. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That I know when you think back about that car that they gave away.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing the pictures of the BMX or whatever it was, and it's like, what in the heck?
Yeah.
Trans Am.
And Brian got one too.
I got two.
Yeah, you both got two. Oh man.
So the first year, the one I won the first year, the silver one, a guy from Switzerland bought it, a guy that was involved in BMX. And I literally remember driving it down to Long Beach and putting it on leaving it at the dock there. They put it on a boat and shipped it to Switzerland. He left all the logos and everything on it. I actually just ran across the photos. My mom has some photos in her garage in one of her memory bins with me, of me, you know, shaking his hand and presenting him the car, you know, here locally. And then he shipped it back to Switzerland and put it in some BMX museum there.
That's
and then
cool.
Then the second one, you know, so I kept that a year and got rid of it. Then I won the back to back. So I got another one, a red one, and kept it. I kept that one probably a year and a half and got rid of it. Like, you know, once again, didn't appreciate it. Wish I would have kept it, just like I would have kept half of the stuff that I gave away.
What was the deal with that? You had to take that to a certain amount of nationals? Is that the deal when you won it?
Yeah. Yep. You had to take it to, I don't know, like 8 nationals. So, you know, pretty much all the ones on the West Coast. We'd hit the LA, Northern Cal, go up to Oregon, Washington, Arizona. And you had to drive the car to the race was part of the deal. And
Yeah.
the very first one, I actually had to sue ABA to get the title. It was crazy because after the year was up, I guess, I don't know if they ran into some financial situation, whatever the situation was, but
Oh man. EC, what'd you win?
I want a Toyota SR5 pickup, dude. Not even an extra cab, bro.
I still remember when Ronnie, they gave Ronnie Anderson a freaking a Ford Mustang. And he wouldn't take it. He said, I want a Trans Am like the Pattersons.
Yeah. I'll tell you what though, man. I drove the crap out of that truck. I loved it. It was like a little go-kart. But I'll tell you the best thing about winning that truck, man. I won that truck in Memphis in '93. I won the NBL title. The best thing about that truck is that I had to drive it home, and I got to do the drive with my mom. And that
that's
was
awesome.
cool. Yeah, that was
very cool.
Super, super cool, man. Like to do a road trip with my mom. I had a bunch of my music that she didn't like, and she always tells the story about how I pulled into a gas station and I went in and I got a bunch of cassettes that she liked. So I would play her music while we were driving. But man, like to be able to do that with my mom, like I wouldn't care what car I got just to have that moment, man. That was the best
Very
thing
cool.
about that truck.
That is awesome. My road trip back was with Rick Palmer. Rick Palmer rode with us, and yeah, him and I road trip back from driving through Flagstaff, Arizona, in that time of year in the snow with no snow tires. It was pretty hairy.
When you stopped for gas, did Palmer get out and do push-ups?
Probably. Rick.
He did that or fixed his hair.
No, one of the two, exactly.
Oh man, I can imagine somebody opening up a storage unit somewhere or a container somewhere, and there that car sits pristine.
That would be awesome.
Either one of any of them. Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be just
Yeah.
fantastic?
Yeah.
I wonder about the one in Switzerland. Was it Coney Hayek that got it?
No, I don't remember the guy's name, but if I heard it, I would, but it wasn't him.
No, man. Just imagine that thing rolling down the street now. If you saw it, I'd lose my mind.
Oh
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, did you two ever fight each other?
No.
Not physically, no. He
No.
took me out one time in Texas, almost
Well,
put me into a snake pit.
Yeah, and I took you. Funny
Yeah, it
story.
was just-
Funny story is I met my wife and we were dating, and she knew nothing about BMX at all, and they had a race in the Cow Palace. And so I said, hey, after work, come to the Cow Palace, we're racing, and it was a national. And so long story short, she gets there. She's all dressed up, not for the dirt. And she was in the stands, and she's like, what the heck is this? She sees all the kids, autographs, and, she's like, what the hell? And long story short, semi-pro main, semi-pro, Brian's in fourth, I'm in fifth. So I dive under him, push him out. I get fourth, make the main. I end up winning the main. It was her first race that she saw me. I had to win.
Yeah,
So
of course.
I didn't take him out, but I pushed him really wide and ended up getting fourth, but it was worth it.
Right, EC?
Oh,
When push
yeah.
comes to
Right.
shove.
Yeah.
Push comes to shove. There ain't no love.
Ain't no brothers on the track. Oh
love it.
man, that's awesome. I heard a couple of stories I'm going to ask you about. What was it like? You mentioned earlier, Brent, about touring. What was it like? Give us the backstory. What was it like inside that Patterson motorhome?
You know what? It was a blast, actually. I mean, we had 7, 8 guys that slept 7 or 8. And, the music we played, right. Driving down I was 15 and a half, didn't even have my license. And I'm driving that thing across the country, 30-foot motorhome, 16-foot trailer through Manhattan, downtown Manhattan,
Amazing.
But no, I mean, Brian, getting up in the middle of the night, baking cakes in the oven, we made so many, things as we're driving, and it was just a blast. That stuff there, we didn't go to college. That was our college. Right. and wouldn't trade it for anything. I mean, the memories, it was just, it was a blast. And then to be with everybody and every weekend and during the week, we'd, meet up and we'd stay at KOAs and it was an experience.
Okay, so speaking of KOA, I've been asked to ask about a special story.
Does it have to do with goggles?
Can you tell me the goggles story?
Oh my God. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh,
Go ahead, Brian.
This is a John Cruz story, okay? Not a Brian Patterson story. But so we're staying at a KOA, and I don't even know, it's in Tennessee. I don't even know where it is. But we'd always hang out at the little convenience store, whatever they had at the KOA. They had video games and pool tables and all that stuff. Yeah. So we'd be in there playing pool or doing whatever. Well, John Cruz met a girl that he was going to take back to the motorhome. So we're all hanging out and doing it. So he gets back there. The motorhome's locked. So slides the window open, boosts her up through the window and sneaks into the motorhome. Well, maybe 20 minutes later, my dad comes back before everybody else. And my dad's fiddling with the handle. John's already got the door unlocked, but fiddling with the handle. John panics, jumps up, pulling his pants up, and he opens the door and he's all, "Vance, meet my friend." He didn't even know her name. And he's just like, it was hilarious. And he's just like, so she had glasses, so her nickname was Goggles. So we went with that the whole time. It's, so the John and the Goggles story is legendary in the motorhome for sure.
Oh, for sure.
I had the pleasure of your dad telling us the story with Cruz sitting right there. And I said, one of the few times you'll ever see John Cruz blush.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Streaker and didn't blush when he streaked,
No.
I mean, this guy did it all for an extra $1 when he ran out of money on tour, But yeah,
Love it.
I'll never forget that. We're in Virginia City, and these guys, was near the end of tour. They were almost out of money. We're here in Nevada, and these guys were going to streak, and that we're in this little dive bar, and they're in the bathroom stripping down to streak, and this guy comes walking in, and these guys start freaking out, and freaking take their clothes off. They go running through the bar and running out the door, trying to find the motorhome. My dad's driving down the road, making them say something. It was hilarious. But these guys did anything for an extra $1.
Oh man, it's so good.
Those road stories are the best, man. They really are. Like, just well, I mean, we were blessed to be able to do that. Like, I often think about my kids, and they're not racing at a level like that. Well, they don't race BMX. They're racing mountain bike stuff, but it just doesn't seem. It seems like culture is different. Things like that are not. That's not what's happening. I'm always thinking, like, man, I want my kids to experience.
I don't think so, EC. I don't think it's the same. Yeah.
It isn't the same.
And it never will be, unfortunately.
Yeah.
These kids with their phones and their video games, and they don't go out front and play. And I mean, we were out from the time school got out till the street lights came on every single night.
Yeah.
Doing something, playing with our friends with, cell phones. None of that stuff existed. It's just a totally different day and age.
I can't imagine, right? Like Brent, you were talking about that motorhome, and you were driving across and you're 15 and a half, right? And I mean, I had a similar experience with Mike when I was on the Hutch team. It was my first real summer tour where, I went on a summer tour when I was 15 with my parents in a van with a couple other families in other vans. That ain't the same. When you get in the team motorhome and the oldest dude's like 22 or 23 years old, and Hollywood is one of the ringleaders, like
I can imagine.
Sounds like danger.
It is. It was.
Wait. What do you mean?
We know.
But, oh my gosh! Like the experiences that you get to experience, right? Like, were we pushing the envelope? Of course we were. But oh my gosh, you grow up so much through that experience, and like you said, Brent, that was our college. It's better than college.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, and so that's the part that I talk about with my kids. It's like, man, I want them to do that. I want them to get out there. You know, I can't afford to send them on the road all summer. Like, we were blessed. Our sponsors paid for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, your dad stepped up to the plate, didn't he? He really did.
He did. Absolutely did. Yep.
I'm going to say my mom stepped up to the plate to allow my dad to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we've had the fire equipment company since 74, probably before we started racing.
Yeah.
That we're both involved with now. And, you know, my mom stayed home and held down the fort and ran the business while my dad was out having fun with us, you know, and she would fly in for the big races and stuff, you know, but she gets a lot of kudos for sure.
That our fire protection business, you know, helped out Patterson Racing many times, right? Because, you know, not getting product, not, you know, this and that, and it's, you know, traveling, and you got 6-7 guys, you're flying everywhere. It was very expensive.
Yeah,
And we still, you'll see our logo on jerseys. I mean, we sponsor Richie's daughter. You see our logo on her jersey. We sponsor Bay Area BMX, Howard Cato and his crew.
Great program, by the way.
Yeah,
Howard's program's awesome.
Yeah. He does some amazing stuff for the kids, local kids, and the, you know, underprivileged kids in Oakland. And I mean, he definitely walks the walk for sure.
Well, hey man, kudos to you guys.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to. I mean, clearly your time in BMX has passed, but you're still giving back. I mean, that's a testament to who you guys are as people.
Well, BMX made us who we are today and put us in the position to take the company to the level it's at today. When we took over the business back in the late 80s, I mean, we had like 15 employees, but because of our competitiveness of wanting to be the best and be number one, we took the company to a different level than where it was when my parents were running it. You know, they mom and pop company, and they were okay with that.
Yeah.
We had a bigger vision and more aspiration, and you know, did what we did with it. And it's because of our background in BMX that helped us get it there.
I love it. Hey, Brian, I sing those praises about BMX to anybody who will listen, about the life lessons that you learn about being self-motivated, goal-driven, and the lessons that it teaches you. And literally what you're explaining is exactly the example of that. I mean, you guys took, I mean, clearly your parents had a business that was doing well enough that you were able to invest into a BMX company, but you learned some stuff on those 20-inch bikes. And now you got 50 vehicles and over employees, man. It's amazing.
So I read somewhere that, and I think just the time around the timing is about the time when you both retired out of BMX, that Patterson pretty much ended or close to it. Is that right? And if so, it said something like there were production problems involved, and it wasn't really clear about that. But could you? Yeah, any insight on that? Or
well, yeah,
there's stories that go with it for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, you want to go, Brent, or?
Well, a long story short, because, you know, it's a touchy situation.
Okay.
So we, you know, Patterson Racing was a pretty big name back in the day, and we, you know, unfortunate to us, we didn't get into our own manufacturing. We always relied on someone else to manufacture our products. So that was really the downfall of Patterson Racing. So we, you know, we promoted, we won races, we got in the magazines, we advertising, we paid for, you know, all the airfares, everything, and didn't get any product. And you can't do that, you know, very long without, you know, going down. So,
right.
You know, we literally went like 2 Christmases with no product.
And we had the demand.
We had the demand. The demand, everybody wanted our product. We couldn't get it. And there was always excuses. And it was, you know, tubing problems and chroming problems and this and that. And it was, you know, one of the biggest bicycle manufacturers in the world at the time that was making our product. and they were making their product and they had no problems, but our product, we couldn't get.
Seemed to somehow get shorted.
And yeah,
It's amazing how the chrome stuck to their tubes, but not yours.
Exactly. And so, you know, it was, you know, things happen. And, you know, I mean, obviously if me and Brian, you know, we had opportunities to race for other teams, right? And we could have made probably 3 to 4 times the money that we made. You know, Patterson Racing, you know, we would win races and put the money right back in the company, you know, to keep it going for the next week, the next week, you know. And I was telling Mike, you know, a story of, you know, we were back in, I think it was Ohio, and our van blew up, and we didn't have any money. I mean, they needed a motor. It was $3,000-$4,000 for a motor.
Yeah.
So, you know, me and Brian looked at each other and we're like, okay, let's put it in the shop. We got to win this weekend. And sure enough, we got like first and second, and we got, you know, $3,000, $4,000 to get the Ford van out of the shop. Right. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy stories.
Man. Stories like that are so, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's just insane.
That is such a fantastic story, man.
Yeah.
When Brett told me that, I was like, wow. We were talking about golf and betting for golf, and sometimes you bet a $20 bet or $100 bet when you only have $20 in your pocket.
Yeah.
How about going to the races with your van in the shop with a $4,000 mechanic bill, and you both have to get first and second to pay the bill?
Oh yeah. You know, and we're calling back to mom and dad, and they're like, we don't have it, you know,
figure it out.
Like, okay, you know, here we go, you know.
That's pressure. That's racing under pressure.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, it's you know, it's unfortunate that the company succumbed to a situation like that. You know, I know I've had friends that have started companies and had similar situations like that to happen, like over in Asia, where they have somebody, they're producing bikes over there. The factory comes up with all these reason after reason after reason after reason they can't produce it. Guy runs out of money. Factory says, well, I tell you what, I know you can't pay your bill. We'll take 50% of the company. And then all of a sudden, all those things are fixed.
Okay. So it was kind of like that.
Of course it was.
But
crazy.
we refused to give our name up.
So you can follow the dots. Okay. There were several other companies that ended up being run by this particular company.
Oh yeah.
For this exact same reason.
Yeah. I figured the math out for sure. Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Holy.
And wow. Yeah.
We can edit this out if you want to, but were their initials Gary Turner?
I didn't say that. You did.
I did. And
wait a second. I love Gary Turner personally. Yeah, it was the other person,
right?
The other half,
not
the business half, not the guy that knows how to work the shop. You know, the funny thing is we had a bigger name, a better team, everything. I mean, we could have been that company.
Yeah.
You know, had we done the stuff in house and, you know, did what we were supposed to, we'd probably still be in the bike business today.
Yeah, but you guys are better for what you're doing now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I wouldn't change a thing, to be honest with you. I mean, things happen for a reason, for sure.
And you guys have a family-owned business that you guys have taken and run with the ball. Man, that's an American dream, right? To take what your parents started and then pick that up and grow it into I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys aren't hurting, right? We can do a crowd fund for you guys if you need it.
Yeah.
I think you guys are doing all right. I mean, remember, we've been to your house, so a lot of sympathy on us.
I gotta say, man, I don't know if it was Brian, I don't know if it's your parents or if it's just a family vacation home. Man, that home was beautiful. And your family was so generous to invite all of us to your house and to have dinner there the way we did. I mean, that was
fun. That was fun.
Oh, dude, it was a highlight of the trip for me.
It really was awesome.
And we're going to do it again this year.
Yeah, we're going to do it again this year. Absolutely. Yeah,
Well, I
that's
mean,
just it's our weekend house. Like Brian has a house in Tahoe.
yeah.
We have this there, and my family is a bunch of golfers, right? So we live on a golf course here in Hayward. We're on the 4th hole. And then we have that house up there that we live on the 12th hole. So we're all about golf.
Yeah.
Which house has the starting gate in the garage?
Unfortunately, none of them.
No, but that was a really cool night. And I tell you, I'm going to get there earlier next time.
Absolutely.
We got there as
We're
soon as we
late.
could, right?
We're
Yeah, we got there a
definitely
little
doing
late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys
The
had
end
that podcast going.
Yep.
So,
I'm-
but next year everyone knows what's going on. So hopefully
Yeah.
everybody I talked to really enjoyed it. I mean, it was like, an evening from, just reminiscing with everybody that was there. It was a who's who of BMX from back in the early days.
You know what was good? What was good, Brian, is if you would just, like during the night, sometimes when I'm at events like that, I like to just sit back and observe. And man, there was so much laughter down there, where all the seats were down below.
Mm-hmm.
So much laughter. And that's what I remember from that night, was sitting there and sitting back and being quiet and being observant. And everybody was laughing at every table. And I'm like, man, this is amazing. All these people are telling all these stories.
It's like being at the races, right?
It was.
Yeah.
It was really, really a special evening, man. And so
Yeah.
hats off to you guys. Thank you for opening your house to us that way. It was amazing.
Yeah,
And what
no
we're
problem.
talking about is the Frogtown Classic, the vintage BMX race up in Northern California. And
Tough.
Todd Huffman put this
Huffman, yeah.
fantastic event. And we had found out that there was going to be a taco night, a get together at Brent's home. And it was by invitation only. And we weren't invited.
Yeah, I heard that on Stewart's podcast.
You just talked to John Cruz about that. Oh my God. I just pushed everything to him.
Yeah, I just want to tell you this. We say we weren't invited, but John did tell me about it.
Yeah.
And we were always going to go. And I want to tell you, really the highlight of the night for me was as we were leaving I already talked to Cruz and we were laughing, but we stopped and where your dad was sitting. And then I introduced our friend, Justin Shepard. He was with us. We drug him along and we said, I wanted to introduce him to your dad. And I said, Mr. Patterson, this is my good friend, Justin. His nickname is Goggles. And your dad just started laughing, started cracking up. And that's when he grabbed you guys. Hey, come here. John Cruz, come here, sit down. And your dad told me the Goggles story. And
Oh my God.
we laughed so hard. And of course, Justin has no idea he's just Goggles. Fantastic. Oh man. I want to ask you guys, it's kind of like my new standard question. What's the raddest thing you ever saw in BMX?
Yeah, nothing. I mean, well, I was right next to John when he threw that tabletop in Anaheim, and he told me before that, he goes, I'm going flat. And I'm going, okay, I'll do something. I can't jump, right? He goes, I'm going to go flat. I go, okay, go for it. And we were side by side and he went flat, but I mean, he let it go after. So, but they got the good picture of it. That was pretty good. 60,000 people.
I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, that was super
that
rad.
image is actually, that image is one of the most iconic images in BMX, I think.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that.
I will tell you one of the raddest things I saw, I just talked about, and Brian, you were an instigator in it, and that was Cody Smart jumping the first two in the straightaway in Oklahoma.
Oh, I seen that picture. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was a big
I think
jump.
I think Brian, you were the instigator on that.
For a bet, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Cody was a hell of a jumper, man.
Oh.
I can.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Well, I want to tell you guys, it's been fantastic having you on the show. It's been, you guys are, again, in my opinion, the greatest brothers that ever raced BMX. You only have, you have a nickname of the Malachi brothers because you stomped people into the dirt. I can only think of, John Cruz said that you were from the right part of town. You were NorCal. What do you say? Yeah, you were NorCal with straight teeth.
Oh, that's great.
And the only negative thing I could ever say about the Pattersons, and listen, back in the day when the rivalry was all hot, the only negative thing I could ever come up with was, God, those are ugly helmets. So I got it before I let you go.
But they paid Brent well.
Yeah, exactly.
How did that come about, man?
Well, it was Fox, right? And he was bringing them in. He was importing them in, and I rode for Fox at the time. And he said, "Hey, we got this helmet. It's a, more of a bicycle thing from Europe, and blah blah blah." And I looked at it. I'm like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do with this?" Right? And you got to dress it up, and so I had to put the face mask on. I put the Fox sticker here. I try to get it to look halfway decent, right? Because without that, it looked like, oh my God, But yeah, they were paying me like $1 or $5 a helmet sold, and all this stuff, which they didn't sell. They didn't sell any. Okay.
So what did you do with the $35?
Exactly. Oh my God. Well, that's how we had to make our money as co-sponsors, because we didn't have the big Schwinn, check or red line check every, so we had to get, Nike, and we had to get, Haro, and all, Amy, and, that was our monthly checks coming in,
It's pretty amazing, the list of sponsors you had, by the way. I mean, you're talking Nike and Fox.
Well, let me tell you, I literally, this is before Michael Jordan. Okay. But I sat across, Phil Knight was right there at the desk with me, and we signed a 2-year contract. And every month, I'd have this list. They'd send me anything I wanted, shirts, hats, sweats, whatever. And the funniest thing was, at the time, they weren't the Nike that we know now, that they want their swoosh everywhere.
Yeah.
They did not even want the swoosh on the front of the number plate. They just said, wear the shoes. It'll speak for itself, blah, blah, blah. We're like, okay. They paid me $2,000 a month. And that was a lot of money.
That's a lot of money back then.
But between Amy and, Haro and, Fox and, we were making I was making a good living, so.
Plus the
winnings.
winnings.
Could have been more.
Plus the winnings. The purses were higher back then, I think, right? Than they are now.
Yeah.
Plus you were racing 2 classes.
Yeah.
or 3 in some cases. Yeah.
2, I still can't get over $2,000 a month for shoes, man. That is impressive.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, man.
It was good.
All right.
Hey, I think my senior year in high school, just in like sponsors, I made like $60,000.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that was like,
that was in 79.
I was making more than the teachers were.
Yeah, it's amazing. Isn't it? That's so cool. I love it. What a cool story, man.
So if Patterson didn't exist, is there a team that you guys, in your head said, boy, I would have loved to ride for these guys? I know there's a lot of people that want to know that.
Yeah. I believe it or not, I've never really thought about that. Obviously, Red Line would have been a good one.
Okay.
I like Lynn Caston. I liked his product. It always looked clean. Everything was, from the stickers to the chrome to, he was always first class on everything. Schwinn would have been good. They wanted us, but they only wanted half our team. And so we're like, take all our team or none. And they said, we can't afford the whole team. So, and plus they had a team. So it would be like getting rid of, their team and bringing our team on board. Right. So
they should have.
Yeah.
They should have.
Yeah,
Brian, how about you?
So I was a lot younger when we started Patterson Racing, so I didn't really have the choice. Everybody wanted Brent. I was his little brother, and I won as an 11 and 12-year-old, I won a lot of races. One year in NBA, I ended up national number 5, which normally you get all your points in the NBA nationals racing the trophy dash, which 11-year-olds couldn't race the trophy dash. But I had won I know back then there was only like 8 nationals or whatever. And I won like 6 out of 8 nationals, and I ended up national number 5. But I rode an R&R back then. But they didn't really have a team. They made a bike. I don't remember them having a team.
I think later on they had a team, but not then. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I was just along for the ride. I was, following Brent wherever he went.
I love it.
All right. Well, fellas, I got to tell you, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure having you guys on the Dirty Knobs. It's fantastic. This is
it's
going
fun.
to be a great season finale to have you both on.
Yeah, man. To be able to sit and talk with icons of the sport like this. I mean, you guys are, it's different. It's different than now that we're older, but growing up, seeing you guys were the guys in the magazines, and you were like out of the world. It was like nobody could beat Stu. It was like these guys are kicking Stu's ass.
Well, I got to tell you one thing before we go. So I was doing a little research, right? I mean, I always knew you, Eric. I mean, when you were little, and then I followed you, even when I quit because you were getting fast and pro. But I didn't know James, right? So I was looking on the Google, and I was like, okay, James, New Jersey, blah, blah, blah. And I came across some podcast that you were on, James, and it was you talked about Mike hitting you in the face or something.
He did, for real.
Okay. Well, so I got hit in the face. Okay. So
it wasn't me. Wait a minute. It was not.
No, it was not you. NBA Grand Nationals. Okay. I had just turned 16. So I went 15. I, dominated 15-year-olds. It was me and Tinker and, a couple other guys, but I just turned 16 and I'm at the NBA Grands. And for some reason that day I was clicking. I was Stu, everybody. I was just killing it down the straightaways. I'd pass them like they were standing still.
And this is when 16 and over was a class. They didn't have anything.
It was 16 and over.
Right.
And they had a pro. They had a pro class and 16 expert and over. And I was flying all day. As a matter of fact, there's a center spread that Bob Osborne did of that race. I'm speed jumping a jump. And so anyway, long story short, pro main, Stu's in the lead. I'm in second. And my mistake, because I was beating these guys all day, like the second corner, he went in hard. I went high and dove under him. I should have just waited till the next straightaway, because all day I had the power. And I didn't. And we hit, and a couple guys hit, and a couple guys wrecked, and we got up and finished. Well, I'm at the end. I ended up getting like 4th place or something. And I get to the end of the race, and I'm like leaning on my handlebars, breathing hard. And I hear this bike coming up, and I look up, and I get this fist right to my face. I mean, hard. I mean, my nose, blood, everything, right? And I'm like, oh my God. Well, it was Coy Hudson. He was in the main, and I guess he was part of the, when I went under everybody at, and he nails me. And this is like, I still had mains to go. And now I got nose, I got fat lips. I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, totally, I didn't win. I mean, I should have won that day, but that punch, it was like,
it hurts.
Oh my God.
It hurts, right?
Yeah, oh my God. And I'm trying to race another 16 expert or 16 open, whatever. And yeah, there's just no way after that.
I know, Brand. It's not right to get punched in the face like that.
No.
Right to get punched in the face.
Why do you got to bring that up, man? Why do you have to bring that up?
Sometimes you get punched in the face.
Oh,
I don't ever remember you two ever getting in any kind of altercations at the races. I mean, you guys rode rough, but it wasn't.
No.
Never remember you guys ever getting into it at the races.
No.
Never involved with any controversy.
Well, I think Brian was so tall. By the time, when he was pro, he was so tall, nobody wanted to mess with Brian.
Yeah. I mean, there was an incident in Bakersfield. I think I was only 15 at the time, but, I went under Stu in a corner, and he goes over the berm, and he, wrecks, and we finish, and then he's coming after me or whatever. Nothing really ever happened, but it was like, he starts rushing me and I'm like, oh shit, he was like a giant, and I'm like, okay, but I mean, I barely hit him. I mean, it was just like, one of those tight bull corners, and we both made it through. And he ended up, there's a picture of it actually. He's over the berm and you can see his back tires flat. So when he hit, or if I hit him, whatever, his back tire went flat and he went flying over the berm.
That's a likely NorCal story right there.
Yeah.
Did you see how
wait a
see him on
second.
the inside, and then Stu went flying off the berm. I don't know what happened.
I remember
So
that.
NorCal, so NorCal right there.
He rolled that tire off his rim and it was flat.
That's right.
He
And that's
was
how he
going-
fell. I think he got a flat first.
Yeah,
I love
maybe
that
the rest of the
rivalry.
country will believe that, but nobody in Southern California.
Dude, that rivalry was so good though, man. Because I do think that NorCal SoCal rivalry when and it was the same for us. I mean, it was more for me. It was Terry and Cecil and
Kenny May.
and that type of stuff. And I was friends with those guys, man. I mean, like I talked with those guys. But man, I sure as heck did not want those dudes to beat me.
Of course not.
And NorCal guys, man, the pride up there. I will say the NorCal pride is stronger than the SoCal pride. Like it is. Hollywood, come on.
No, we just
He's
don't
shaking his
have to
head.
talk so much crap.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I never saw any SoCal stickers on SoCal number plates, but there was NorCal stickers on NorCal plates.
We didn't need it. We had in and out.
I loved it though, because I think
Oh.
it drove both zones. You knew when you were coming to a national, especially if the national was in California, like if you had a Bakersfield or a Stockton national or something, like it was like, all right, man, this shit's going down. Like it is going down. Can't let NorCal dudes beat me. And I can remember going to those races. I mean, there's a good picture of me one time. I'm slamming Terry into the wall at Stockton. There was no way he was going around the outside of me, dude. I didn't care if we both crashed. We're going to the wall, bro.
There you go. There you go.
But I loved
That's great.
I think, is that little inner thing that we had. And I think it drove all of us to be faster racers. And I think we're
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it would be tough to make you guys faster.
Hey,
Be tough to
Mike,
make you guys faster.
I can tell you one more thing. This is funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's just kind of ironic. So when I was bicycle sponsored, so Cycle Pass Schwinn, right? Local races in Hayward, bunch of LA guys came down for some bicentennial race or something, right? And it was Rennie Roker and his crew. So I literally won my first 3 races I ever raced. I got first place, right? And I was jumping the jumps and everything, but I rode with all these guys during the week. I knew I could beat them. So these guys come down and I've seen these guys speed jumping for the very first time. I didn't even know what speed jumping was. And the guy that was the smoothest was Anthony Sewell. He freaking got over these jumps. And I studied this and I'm like, oh my God. And from that day on, I was speed jumping. But he's the one that, I mean, I'm sitting there back. I got my Cycle Pass Schwinn jersey on, right? And I'm like, holy crap, this guy is good, And from then on, that was it. Speed jump, speed jump, speed jump.
Yep. That's how the Panther did it, man. He was a rocket ship. He was a rocket ship.
Yeah.
That dude was fast.
He was.
I
He was
remember.
fast.
Yeah.
And I hated him behind me on the last straightaway because he would he's done it 2 or 3 times. He'd power past me. I'd be in first main event. He'd win right at the line. Stu would do that too. But oh
That
my
guy was
God.
huge.
Yeah.
Hey, Brent and Brian, the famous Patterson brothers, in my mind, the greatest BMX brothers ever. Thank you so much for being part of our show, for taking the time out to come on. And I just want to say, you may have been NorCal rivals, but since then, you're friends. And you'll
Yes.
always be brothers in BMX.
Yep.
For sure.
You got it.
Hey, thank you guys.
Yeah,
You're
thank-
welcome.
Coming on.
Thank you guys for taking the time to come on and speak with us. It's a pleasure for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having
absolutely.
You
us.
got it. Yep. Thank you.
All right, fellas. Thank you
All right.
again, man. I appreciate you guys jumping on and doing this with us.
No problem. Take care, buddy.
All right, boys.
All right.
We'll
See
see
you
ya.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Peace out. Take care.
Peace out. Hey, Dirty Knobs. We're asking you, our friends, to make a donation on behalf of John Cruz to the Davis Finney Foundation. And that can be done at davisfinneyfoundation.org. That's DAVISPHINNEY foundation.org. Listen, your gift makes a difference, and together we're helping people live better and building healthier Parkinson's communities. So listen, on behalf of John Cruz and the three of us here at the Dirty Knobs, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one, you bunch of dirty knobs. I'm going to send a box out to somebody who subscribes. So please do that. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Comment if you have anything to say. We'd love to hear it. And we will be back out here in 2 weeks with another one. And thanks to our sponsors. Speaking of which, we are going to read some commercials to you now. Thanks for showing our sponsors the love, because they're showing it to us. Thanks again, and we'll catch up to you soon. And then sing it out right now.
All right, coming live and direct from the Colt Clubhouse in Santa Ana, California. Come on down and get all your BMX needs. We're giving away free air for your tires. That's all I got, brother.
That's great. That's great. All right, now.
It's perfect.
Perfect.
Kinda, designed for your journey. On the road, on the trail, or on the racetrack, you can count on Kinda quality. Our tires are engineered for performance and value across a wide range of interest and applications. See why Kinda is the right choice. It's your move.
Imagine how bikes can lead to a healthier, more connected world. Bikes set us apart, free to explore and move and experience our relationships with people and places like nothing else can. At Ceres, we don't just imagine a more bikeable world, we're all in, making it happen.
SR Sun Tour shares your passion of cycling. We are committed to giving you the highest level of service in the industry, along with products that hopefully will exceed your expectations. Serving riders is the cornerstone of our business, and we pride ourselves in doing it.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Velocity Bike Park is the premier bike park for riders in Southern California, with 25 miles of world-class trails, obstacles, flow track, and races for mountain biking, gravel, and BMX.
Ultramax mini pads, designed for you small riders who don't need a full-size frame pad, or you weirdos that worry how much your bike weighs. When you think mini pads, think Ultramax. Remember, not available where chainsaws and a Henway are sold, but you can still get an Ultramax t-shirt at dirtyknobs.com.
ABC, the American BMX company, bringing you brands like Race Inc., Cook Brothers, Botima, Box, Kuwahara, and BMX Action. Check them out at abmxc.com. ODI Grips, the world leader in grip technology, home of the lock-on grip system. Check them out over at www.odigrips.com. 4416 Designs commercial, take one.
There you go. All right, 4416 Designs. We make shirts, but we don't sell them. We're just giving back to the sport. If you're out at Ukaipa BMX and you need a shirt, hit me up. I'll hook you up with one.
Yeah, I love that. Mega Design Group is a full-service marketing firm. They handle everything from logos to advertising to packaging. Having over 25 years experience in the print and marketing fields, they can handle any hurdle. Check it out at megadesigngroup.com. Cool Stop Brake Pads. High-performance bicycle brake pads since 1977. Check them out at coolstop.com. That's KOOLSTOP.com. Supercross BMX. What can we say? Our lives revolve around BMX. Founded in 1989 to build the ultimate BMX race frame, they've never strayed from that vision. Hey, for more details, check it out at supercrossbmx.com.
Amy Grips is dedicated to using all of its manufacturing strengths, including engineering, research, and development, to successfully prepare for future growth while demanding that the quality of its products provide consumers with complete satisfaction. Making grips since 1974. Check them out at amegrips.com.
If you have a Senna cycling helmet, you know what it's like to ride connected. Senna got their start in communications for the motorcycling industry, where they're now a leader. Senna brought their same tech that goes into those helmet-to-helmet motorcycle communication systems into cycling helmets. Senna bike helmets have an integrated microphone and 2 speakers hidden right into the shell. Senna helmets connect together on a mesh or Bluetooth network so you can talk to your friends while you ride without shouting over wind noise, even if you're not side by side. That's super cool, especially in the trails. Senna helmets also pair with smartphones, so you can listen to your playlist without blocking out ambient noise, and you can take phone calls and even hear turn-by-turn GPS directions.
Hey, support the podcasts that support us, our friends. The fine folks over there at All Things BMX, which is our favorite Wednesday night live podcast, as you know. Our buddies over there at Beer Budget BMX, Big Bike BMX, and BMX Weekly. Check them out. Check them out. Our friends.
Keep it dirty.
Miranda didn't tell the story about the broken wrist.
Oh no, no. I
Thank you.
could.
That's okay.
It's a great. Do you guys know the broken wrist? Were you guys here when I told the broken wrist story?
I don't know.
I
think it was. I'm almost pretty sure it was Memphis. We're in Memphis, and Brian has a brace on his wrist, which you raced for quite a while with that thing. I think you were milking it.
Yeah, that's it.
Ability or what?
It all
He had this-
makes you...
He had a brace on his wrist, and we're sitting in the pits. We're sitting in the stands, and he takes it off and he's doing something. I go, "Oh, hey, so what's going on with your wrist there, Brian?" And I scooched right next to him, and I grabbed his wrist and I said, "Oh man, does it hurt? Is it stiff?" Or he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Does it hurt when you move it up and down like that?" And he goes, "No, that feels all right." And I go, "Well, what about when you move it back and forth?" And I move his hand down by my pants. And he goes, "Does that hurt?" And he goes, "No, that feels good." I go, "Well, it feels good to me too." And all I know is there were a number of pros sitting right there. Oh, I never forgot.
God.
Yeah.
Only Mike.
Yeah,
Only Mike.
Always.
Only Mike.
That's where that started.
That's where that started. That was the best time I ever pulled that off.
I can't tell. We've pulled that story off fireside camping at least a dozen times.
If anyone crashes, "Oh yeah, I hurt my arm." EC will go, "Hey Hollywood, did you hear he hurt his arm?"
Yeah,
I walk
just
right over there.
reel right in.
"Oh really? Yes, it hurt when you do this." Every time.
That's where it started. That's amazing.
That's where it started, right there with Brian Patterson.
I love it. Oh my gosh.
Once again, Tommy Lee Brackens reminded me of that just the other day. Oh man. Well, thank you guys. You guys are fantastic.
All right, brother.
A lot of fun.
Thank you
Okay,
guys so
guys.
much.
Yeah.
All right, we'll catch
Thank
up.
you.
Take care.
All right.
Yep, see
Bye.
ya.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
I sent you one a couple days ago, Cody Smart.
I saw it.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. All right.
I
That's
love when we
old
have our
school.
friends subscribe. It's great. When I see a name that I understand, when I see
Yeah.
a name that I recognize, I send it to you guys.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
Tell me.
Stuart, Greg supported us by buying some gear recently.
Wow.
We just sent it out,
That's fantastic.
right?
That is
Gotta love it.
fantastic.
You gotta love it.
You gotta love it. All right, Patterson Racing. Sold at your local GT dealer.
Oh.
All right. So
Nah, look at
man,
you,
I'm so
just
mad.
kicking in the nuts.
Yeah.
Steel toe, pointed toe
I
too.
love that.